Hi friends, let's get started on our logo project. This assignment is about using the 2D tools in Vectorworks. So I'm sure you know how to Photoshop and that's cool and wonderful. Please follow the steps that I am providing so that you actually learn what all of these tools in Vectorworks are going to do. Okay, so we are going to start a new file. So I'm going to ask for a new file and I'm going to use my document template, say okay. The first thing I then do once I have this file is I save it. So we're going to save it. We're going to create on your flash drive. I don't have one plugged in right now, so I'm going to put it here on the desktop of my computer. A folder. We're going to call it CAD class. Create that, and then we will call this logo. Is it assignment 1 or 2? 2. Logo project. I'm so good at spelling. All right, there it is. So logo project, create, and now I need a file name. So I'm going to call this my name logo project. Save. Okay, now I have a file. So do that so that when you autosave, it'll have a place to autosave too. Now we are in our template file on the scenery layer. If you want to pick another layer, that's fine, whatever. Leave your space about where it is. So don't zoom out too far, don't zoom in too far, just let it be where you are when you arrive. We will start with the rounded rectangle tool. And as a reminder, when you hover over your icons in your toolkit, you will see in parentheses keyboard shortcuts that will get you closer to where you're going. I don't often use the rounded rectangle tool, so I have not memorized that option 4 is the rounded rectangle tool's keyboard shortcut, right? I have more frequently used the circle tool, which is 6, or the rectangle tool, which is 4. That one I use pretty frequently. Rounded rectangle, less frequently, okay? So here we are. Let's draw our rounded rectangle and then use our offset tool to create a parallel line to it. So when I come in to draw rectangles, you'll see a few things on the screen, right? There is a little floating bubble below my cursor with triangle X and triangle Y. If you remember from math class, triangle represents change. So change in X, change in Y. Those are the dimensions of the rectangle that I'm drafting right now. The Y is a negative number because I've moved down, right? If I went up, it would become a positive number. So I'm just drawing from top left to bottom right. You'll also notice that it will snap to specific angles. Symmetric is popping up right now, so that means that this is a square. The way that you can cause it or force it to snap to symmetry, to a symmetric angle, is you hold down your shift key. And when you do that, when you hold down shift, now it is snapping to a square shape, okay? I don't care really what size this is, so I'm just gonna, throw something out there and see what happens, okay? So now I have my Instagram logo's outer outline. The next thing I'm gonna do is pick up the offset tool. That's over here. I do not use its keyboard shortcut because, again, I don't use it that often. So the offset tool creates a parallel object at a distance from the selected object, right? So you have 2 requirements. You have to have something selected, and then you have to have a distance away from that something, okay? Right now, let's just start with 1 foot, right? So you have to hit the 1 parentheses to get a foot, and that has now set that offset automatically inwards. If I keep clicking, it will keep going. If I click like this, I now have like 17 rectangles. I have found students go like this 16 times, and then we have like 25 shapes, right? If you click and drag to select, ooh, look at that. You can see I have 17 rounded rectangles. I only need 2. I need the outside one, and I need 1 inside of it. So I can come in here and hit the delete button to delete all of these rando copies that I have created. Let's see if I'm down to, nope, I still have so many. So now I'm going to pick up these 2 that I actually want, move them over here, and delete the rest of this garbage. Great. So now I'm down to just the ones I wanted. There they are. And I'm going to use clip surface to clip the inside or top layer shape, right? So stacking order does matter. If this were behind, it would not do the clipping that I want it to do. So I'm basically cutting like a cookie cutter this inside shape out of the outside shape. So first I select them both, then I go to modify, and the modify tool menu is your 2D shape modification situation. So 2D shapes, clip surface, and it has now cut out this inside shape from the outside shape. Yay, wonderful. We don't need that, we'll delete it. So I now have a vector shape that is this outline. So it is 2 lines with a fill in between. And if you zoom in, you'll see that there's sort of a brighter white, and then the paper color for the rest of it. So that indicates to my brain that this has a fill. Beautiful. I can also see over here that it has a solid fill. I'm going to change the color by clicking on the little tab of white, turn it black. Now it's a bold line. Okay. So it does also have a pen color. There is, of course, the option if you're just drawing, if you're doing Photoshop, right? There's the option of drawing one rectangle and like making it a very fat line. But we want shapes in Vectorworks typically because then we can manipulate them and turn them into 3D objects and stuff like that in the future. So we are going for filled shapes, right? Surfaces. So we're going to do the same task that we did before, but with the circle tool to create the inside of the camera of the Instagram logo. Okay, so same basic strategy. I'm going to get my circle. I'm going to kind of guesstimate the center. I can show you how to put it in the center after we create it. And then just pull it out until it feels like it's the right size. Something like that. Click again to select that shape. Go back and grab my offset tool. We'll use the same offset distance because it's as if it was drawn by the same Sharpie marker. And we'll select these 2 shapes, modify, clip surface, and then delete the inside one. So now I have another little donut. We'll take this and turn it black as well. So now I have, you'll notice I'm hovering over things and midpoint are selecting, and we'll see if I can get it there. Yep. So when I'm moving things around in Vectorworks, the individual handles are snapping points, right? So this is up here in the snapping area, and it'll tell you what you're choosing to snap to, correct? So what I just did was I took the center, I picked this circle up from the center, I highlighted until it turns red the top center of my rectangle, and then I highlighted the bottom or the side center, right? And now I'm getting these dashed lines that are going to let me snap the center of my circle to the center of my rounded rectangle, okay? So anytime you pick something up, you're going to see a couple of different options, right, as you hover your cursor over it. The little plus sign is the picking it up tool. The little double arrow sign is a reshaping situation, which we don't want to mess with. So picking it up means you got to kind of find that hover over spot where it gives you the plus tool instead of the like double arrow reshape, okay? That plus tool then allows you to move something relative to whichever point you're picking it up from. So what we just did was we pulled it kind of out of the way. We set some of these smart snapping points by highlighting them, right, hovering over them until they turned red, and that allowed me to drag, and it gave me some quick guides and put me in the place that I want to be. So now I know it's centered. Beautiful, wonderful, cool. One little tiny circle up here in the corner. I am using the arc center to center it, but it does not matter. And if I wanted to be a little bit more precise, if I was like, I'm getting weird snapping, right? And I can't quite get it to be the size that I want, I can look in that little length menu bar. That is telling me the length of the radius of this circle. And I can come in here and be like, okay, I think I really want it to be like 1'6" radius. If I hit tab, it'll highlight that number. And so I can say 1'6" is what I want. I hit tab again just to lock that in. And now I have sort of that specific size set. And I have little red marching ants to tell me that that's what's happening. So I'm just going to click to accept that size. And now I have my little dot. Make that black, just like its friend. I'm going to move it in a little bit. If I want to move something, oh no, I'm drawing more circles. Oh no. So the X key is my keyboard shortcut that's going to bring me back to my moving around pointer instead of my drawing more circles pointer. So as I'm working, I can hit the X key and just get out of whatever tool I'm using and be back to the selection tool and move some stuff around. So I can kind of move this around and you'll notice it's sort of snapping. If I want to nudge it, right? So if I just want to like push it a little bit, I can hit the shift key and use my arrows and you'll see it's kind of just nudge, 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 right? Until I get it where I kind of want it. Beautiful. Great. So there's my Instagram logo. Done. That's it for now.